So you weren't asking me on my video. This was in response to a video my sister did. But I hope that what I will say can help you in regards to Matthew 15:11. So anyway, so basically when you read this, it's very similar to the way how it's written in Mark 7, right? I'm not sure how much you've read, but if you read Mark 7, the story is quite similar in the sense where it's like the scribes and Pharisees, right, from Jerusalem, like when they came to Yeshua, they were getting upset, right, because the disciples weren't washing their hands, but that was just one of their traditions. It wasn't like a commandment from God where he was like, oh yeah, you have to wash your hands before like you eat and things like that. That was just something the Pharisees, man made up, right? And so when Yeshua is like basically rebuking them, he's like telling them basically, like, why do you transgress the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition, right? Like he's like coming at them because he's like, it's like you're so focused on this instead of like the inward, right? Because even when you read, I think it's either Matthew 21 or 23, where he's rebuking, I don't know if he's like, woe to the Pharisees and this, like this and that, where it's like you make your tzitzits long and like things like this, like he's going on a list, but then he said, or like the outside is clean, right? He'll talk about that outside's clean, and one of, again, either Matthew 21 or 23, the outside of the Pharisees is clean and this and that, but the inside is filthy, full of like wickedness and I think like hypocrisy, or like basically saying that they have sin in them. Like they're not, like they're clean outwardly, they look nice to other people and things like that, but they're not actually keeping God's commandments according to scripture, right? And so basically, like right here in Matthew 15:11, where he says, not what goes into the mouth defiles a man, but what comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man. So he's talking about, like, for example, so say if you have something, like say you drink some wine, or like you have a water bottle or something, it's not the most, we already know it's not the most organic thing, it's not the most like full, like pure, right? Because we know that there's stuff they might try to secretly, sneak in to the stuff that is clean, and like things like that we can have. Like again, the wine, for example, is a perfect example. But is someone going to hell because they didn't have like 100% like pure wine? No, because it's not what goes into someone that defiles them. It what comes out of them. So what comes out from the heart? What's in your heart? Because then I think okay, yeah, so he explains in verse where he starts, I'll start at verse 17. Do you not yet understand that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and is eliminated? But those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and they defile a man. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashed hands does not defile a man. So basically he's telling them, so he just like he told the Pharisees, now he's explaining it even further to his disciples what that means, what verse. So what he said in verse 11, he is explaining right here in the last few verses, not the last few verses of Matthew 15, because I don't think that's where the chapter ends. No, it's not where it ends, but the verses I just read, he just gave the understanding of what that verse means. So that doesn't mean now we can drink and eat whatever we want, because there's still stuff, for example, like there's like the unclean and clean animals. I don't know if you know that, but if you read, I'm pretty sure it's Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. And when you read those chapters regarding the clean and unclean animals, he's not referring to that where he's saying you could eat whatever you want now, because and why is Isaiah 66 written, right? And stuff like that. It's more so like, say if something is like, again, wine, nowhere in scripture does it say you can't have wine. If you want to have some wine, you're not going to hell. It's not defiling you if you have some wine. What defiles you is what are you sinning? Are you sinning while you're drinking? Or do you have sin in you, even if you're not drinking? And things like that. That's what defiles you. But anyways, I hope that, I don't know, I hope I explained it in a way that that makes sense regarding Matthew 15:11. But yeah, it all started because he was basically calling them out for being hypocrites, because it's like, you're saying all these things, like coming at these, coming at the disciples, right, for not washing their hands, but you have leaven inside your heart.